What's up, guys? Just had to retweet the stream from my personal account. All right, we're good to go. What's up? What's going on? Welcome in to Post Loons following a bitter, I don't want to call it bittersweet, but I think mixed feelings coming out of the 1-1 draw with LAFC at Allianz Field tonight. What's up? My name is Jeremy Rushing, breaking things down on Post Loons, presented by our good friends over at Ninth Street Soccer and Coffee. Hit them up, 9thstreetmpls.com. I will tell you a little bit more about them as we get a little bit further on in the stream. But as you are trickling in, go ahead and leave those questions and comments. If you're watching over on Twitter, you're going to have to go to our YouTube channel if you want to leave a question or comment. But if you'd rather just stick around on Twitter and watch there, give us a like and a retweet if you could. If you are watching on the YouTube stream, go ahead and hit that thumbs up if you could, and leave a question or comment there in the chat as well. Yeah, a little bit mixed feelings coming out of this one, coming out of Allianz Field tonight. I think a little bit of a missed opportunity with the way you started the match. If you're Minnesota United, so dominant in the early going specifically, but really all match long. And we'll get into the specifics on the stats as we move further here. But I'm still optimistic. This is not a result that really says anything super negative to me about this team. LAFC had their issues, obviously, no Carlos Vela, among others, but they're still a good team. They've shown recently that LAFC is still a good team in good form. So I'm not going to completely disregard this as something that really says something about Minnesota United's chances to make the playoffs and what they could do in it. I think obviously you wanted 3 points if you're Minnesota United. You would have preferred 3 points if you're Minnesota United. But any point at this juncture of the season looms large. And to get one against a team in form like LAFC, the way the match progressed, a little bit of a feeling that it's 2 points lost. But at the same time, I think there's enough there to remain optimistic about this team's chances moving forward. Again, go ahead and get those questions and comments in, guys. Takes, overall thoughts on the match tonight. I will respond to those as the stream gets going here. But I'm going to go ahead and get into my 3 things, my big takeaways from the match tonight. And I don't have the visual aids tonight, so I apologize for that. But my first thing is, this is not an ideal result, but it's not the worst. I think this is a much worse result, this draw. I think it's a much worse result for LAFC and their playoff chances than it is for Minnesota United's. You're already on the outside looking in if you're LAFC. You need to come in and play for 3 points at Allianz. And they did not look like a team that was playing for 3 points. They were a team that was very much on the back foot the entire match. I don't know much about LAFC, to be honest, this season. I don't know if their defense had been that poor all season, but it was not a great defensive performance from them in the aspect that Minnesota United had odd man to use a hockey term, I apologize, but had odd man rushes like the entire match. They had 2-on-1s, 3-on-1s, players getting in behind pretty much all match long. And so that's where the bitter part comes into play. You had those opportunities. You feel like you should have got more than 1 goal and come away with 3 points, but you played well for a majority of the match. There were a couple players who had miscues, and we'll get into those. But overall, I think as far as the performance goes, I think an overall good performance, but it didn't show up in the scoreboard, unfortunately, which happens, right? This is soccer. That happens sometimes. Another reason why you're not feeling terrible coming out of this is because of the RSL results. I don't know if you guys saw, but RSL lost to Chicago Fire today. And so that continues to give you the same buffer as far as the playoff line is concerned. RSL sitting 8th right now. And if they would have gotten 3 points against Chicago, you're not in as good of a spot. But they lose. And so you continue to get that buffer and get a little bit of breathing room. However, RSL still does have a game in hand on everybody else. So it's something to consider as well. Tonight, ongoing matches, LA Galaxy and FC Dallas. That's one to look at. And then also another one to keep an eye on, Vancouver and San Jose. Both of those are underway. I don't have access to scores for either of those right now, but those matches are underway. And then my second thing is dominant everywhere, but where it counts. And that's kind of what I just alluded to. Some of these statistics are pretty eye-popping. You look at 18 shots, 7 on target, 70% possession, 7-0. That's a lot of possession. And it felt like it too. I mean, you could have told me this team had 85% possession and I would have believed you. Like, it was that dominant of a possession performance from this team. And you also, one of the things that stood out to me is crosses. Now, crosses aren't exactly necessarily a factor in quality chances, but this was still pretty lopsided. 28-6, Minnesota United outcrossed LAFC tonight. So, like I said, a dominant performance overall between the boxes, even in the boxes, but you just couldn't be clinical enough in the final third to get more than one goal, unfortunately. Also, not Adrian Hunu's night either. He had a few head-scratching moments, couple of headers that he should have done a lot better with, a couple of instances on the foot that he should have done a lot better with. But unfortunately, he didn't. And if he puts one of those away, Minnesota United wins, right? So a night he'll want to forget, but he has been good recently, so I'll kind of give him this one, but you just can't make it 2 performances like that in a row. I think Unu has done enough to solidify his spot as a striker, but I don't think he's done enough to withstand multiple poor performances like we saw tonight. He's capable of better. We know that. He was kind of due for a bad performance just because he had been good as of late, but I don't think you're going to give him more than one. And then my final one, I've already alluded to this, but my final thing is rare miscues. And unfortunately, I'm looking straight at Tyler Miller. I have been beating the drum for Tyler Miller all season long, saying he's the guy, Tyler freaking Miller this, Tyler freaking Miller that. Well, it was Tyler freaking Miller in not a great way on that free kick that led to a goal. Just goes right through the wickets. And that is not something you normally see from Tyler Miller. You could look at this as, Minnesota United probably should have won this 2-0, 3-0, right? Created enough chances where you probably assume more than one goal is going to go in the back of the net. And the only goal they gave up was just a goalkeeper miscue. But what happened. And as good as you played tonight, you only come away with 1 point. But the performance leaves me optimistic, and I think it should leave a lot of Minnesota United fans optimistic about what this team can do moving forward. Those are my 3 things, guys. So to recap, not ideal, not the worst as far as the result. Dominant everywhere but where it counts, talking about the possession, the shots on goal, but obviously what only counts is the scoreboard, and they were not dominant there, obviously, with the 1-1 draw. And then rare miscues, and rare miscue, I should say, singular, courtesy of one Tyler Miller in goal. All right, if you guys have your 3 things, your 2 things, your 1 thing that you want to drop any overall takeaways from the match, go ahead and drop those in the chat as I tell you about our good friends over at 9th Street Soccer and Coffee. Now, what's not in the banner here, and again, was not able to update the visual aids before I went on tonight, so I apologize, but is their Galazzo Brew coffee. I had this for the first time this morning, and I have to say it was quite good, to say the least. They teamed up with Dogwood Coffee, local coffee brewers, to come up with their signature coffee over at 9th Street Soccer and Coffee, and that is the Galazzo Brew. It was really good. I mean, it beats the Aldi brand coffee that I buy every week. Just blows them out of the water. So it'll be good for you too. I promise, if you go get it. So go to our Twitter at 10K Pitches, or excuse me, go to 9th Street MPLS on Twitter. This is a lot better place for you to go. Go at 9th Street MPLS on Twitter, click the link in their bio, and you'll see the navigation there to get you to buy some Galazzo Brew. I think it's not that expensive. It's actually pretty affordable. You can have it shipped to your house, or you can go pick it up at 9th Street if you're close to Northeast Minneapolis. 801 South 9th Street is where 9th Street Soccer and Coffee is located. And if you want to play pickup soccer, 9th Street is the place to go, guys. I mean, we're talking about a time where it's getting colder. Winter's right around the corner. If you want to get those reps in, get those games in over the winter, Obviously, indoor is the best place to guarantee that you're going to be able to do that, right? And 9th Street Soccer is an unbeatable indoor soccer space, to be honest. And as you can imagine, the time slots for field rentals and pickup are filling up like crazy. So what you want to do is you want to go to 9thstreetmpls.com. And whether you want to rent a field for yourself and your team, or you want to participate in $5 pickup, go ahead and get yourself signed up right now, because again, in the winter in Minnesota, indoor soccer space is at a premium. So make sure you're getting yours. Also, if you are a an avid pickup soccer player, and you think you'll want to play pretty often, there's a $35 unlimited pickup membership that you can get over at 9th Street Soccer and Coffee. Just check them out, 9thstreetmpls.com. New things they have coming down the pipe too. They have women's only and 40 plus pickup. So if you're 40 plus and you want to get some pickup going and you want to get some people together, you won't have to worry about playing, 25, 26-year-olds who can run circles around you. You guys can get out and play pickup over at 9th Street, 9thstreetmpls.com. Follow them on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at 9th Street MPLS. Big thanks to 9th Street Soccer and Coffee for being the title sponsors of Post Loons all season long. All right, so let's get into the game notes here. And while I'm getting into these, if you guys want to drop your questions or comments in the chat, feel free to do so. Third minutes potentially could have been a penalty kick opportunity for the Loons. Reynoso dribbles in the box and is shouldered to the ground by Moonwon Kim. No call from the official. I understand that you're probably not going to get the call in that instance because you're in the box and it needs to be pretty egregious to earn a penalty if you're in the box. But also, you could argue that there was a play on the ball there, I guess. Although to me, it did not look like at all there was a play on the ball. The ball was 2 feet in front of Reynoso. Moonwon Kim shoulders Reynoso to the ground. You can't tell me he's trying to make a play on the ball there, but there is no call and play on. So that was in the third minute. That was kind of right off the bat. And you started to get a glimpse there of the possession and kind of the dominance, the amount of time that Minnesota was going to spend in their attacking third. Fifth minute, they keep it going. First of many good chances for the Loons. Really good ball movement. And Fragapane finds Lud, who puts one on net. But LAFC keeper Jamal Blackman is able to make the save. 8th minute, Reynoso's free kick finds the head of Michael Boxall, who has a wide open net, but the header is wide. That probably should have been a goal. 12th minute, counterattack sprung by Tyler Miller. He was good in distribution tonight. He had the one miscue on the free kick, but he was pretty much locked in from there. And one of his underrated abilities is in distribution and kind of kicking off attacking sequences for Minnesota United from the back. And he does so here. Finds Reynoso at midfield, and Ray beats a couple defenders and gets the ball to Unu. The Loon striker puts a shot wide of the net. He had Fragapane and Lud in support here. This is a 3-on-1, but the one defender was really uptight on Unu, and the Frenchman just couldn't see the support that he had. So hard to blame him there for that one. Shot goes wide, but obviously if he dumps that off for Lud or Fragapane, that's pretty much a wide open goal. But unfortunately, that did not happen. 17th minute, long ball finds Lud, who breaks free and gets one-on-one with Blackman. He's on his right foot here instead of his left, so he's not able to curl it around the goalkeeper. So he decides to just put a hard one on net. It's right up Blackman. And Blackman's able to kind of parry that away. 25th minute, Reynoso hits a low cross that finds the head of Unu. This is one of those header opportunities that kind of leaves you scratching your own head, because it just seems like Unu wasn't ready for it. It seemed like he expected somebody else to get ahead of him, and was almost surprised when it got to him. And he wasn't positioned correctly. He didn't put much on it. It goes wide. Really good opportunity there for the Loons, goes begging. And then in the, I have 64th here, but that is definitely not right. I believe this is 34th minute. Goal LAFC. Christian Arango gets set up for a free kick just outside the box after a well-trapped foul. The shot gets through the wall and somehow through the wickets of Tyler Miller. I mean, it goes through the wall. It's coming right at Miller. He's bending down to pick it up off the bounce, and it just goes right through his legs. He's just unable to get behind the ball fully enough to reel it in, and somehow ends up in the back of the net. And you talk about against the run of play. I had this pulled up here, but at this point, right before the goal, because I was going to tweet the stats right before this goal happened, so I had already pulled them up. But you're talking about 66% possession for Minnesota United at that time, 9 shots to none, 4 shots on goal to none at the point right before this goal. That's as against the run of play as I think I've ever seen a goal scored in my life. And unfortunately, Minnesota United is on the receiving end of that, and it is 1-0 LAFC. 40th minute, Bakaye Dibassy goes down for the second time in the half after getting elbowed. His nose is bleeding as he comes off the pitch, but he would come on just after a minute or so of treatment with kind of one of those plugs in his nose to stop the bleeding. 45+1, center official. This was really scary. Center official Robert Sabiga gets upended accidentally by both Ozzy Alonso and Moonwon Kim. After being down for a while, he does get up and remains in the game. Looked like there was like a cut on his chin as he went down. He went down very, like, it was kind of scary because he was not able to really brace himself as he went down. So, you know, in real time, it's hard to tell if his head bounced off the pitch or anything like that. Total accidental. I mean, Moonwon Kim and Ozzy Alonso are both going for the same ball, and the ref just sort of gets in the middle of it. Wrong place, wrong time. But credit to Sabiga. Tough dude. Was able to get up, stay in the match. The fourth official was even running wind sprints on the sideline, trying to get himself ready. But Sabiga stays in the match, so credit to him. But Moonwon Kim does have to come off for treatment. And Ozzy was all good. So it was really the LAFC player who took the worst of this, even though the official was down a while as well. 45+8, another header Hunu will want back. This was sort of a reoccurring theme in the first half with just not great headers from Adrian Hunu. Really good play by Reynoso and Fragapane in the build-up, but the headed effort on goal just not great once again from Hunu. And you go into halftime down 1-0 and down only 1-0 because Tyler Miller really redeems himself here at the end of the half as LAFC springs a counter. Miller makes an excellent save to keep things 1-0 heading into the break. Redeems himself a little bit for that free kick fiasco. So Minnesota United within a goal at the end of the first half. Let's hit the second half here. 56-minute Gasper very late on a challenge, and it's an easy yellow card decision from the official. And what's unfortunate about this is Gasper will now miss the Vancouver match because of yellow card accumulation. So that is a massive, massive challenge from Gasper in terms of getting that yellow and now missing a pivotal match against Vancouver at Vancouver on Wednesday. Not going to be easy and already, but it's going to be even more difficult losing your starting left back. But in the 64th, Minnesota United draws level courtesy of the captain. Oh, captain, my captain. Hold on. We're going to do this. We're going to do this. Oh, captain, my captain. Sorry, had to do that. Anyways, Ozzy Alonso brings the Loons level off of a rebound. It's Reynoso on a free kick, deflected away by Blackman, but it's right to the feet of Alonso, who puts it in the back of the net, and we're all level at Allianz. The place goes nuts. 74th minute, great cross in from Gasper. Lud able to get his knee or shin on it to send it goalwards, but that is just wide. 77th sub, Finley on for Hunu, which moves Lud to the striker position. Really, really common sub for Heath to make when it is Lud starting on the right wing and Finley off the bench. And then the 82nd, not the first time there was some chippiness in this match involving Michael Boxall specifically. He always seems to be kind of at the forefront. I think he welcomes that sort of intensity and that sort of chippiness, which is really, I mean, you need kind of an enforcer like that on your team. So it's good to see Boxall kind of taking that role. He doesn't take any crap from the other team. A little shoving back and forth with LAFC multiple times. He gets a little talking to from the official, but nothing more. But unfortunately, that's where things end. No real big chances for the Loons at the end of the match. And things end 1-1 at Allianz. So Not the greatest result in the world, but like I said, you'll take this over a loss any day of the week. Big observations here. I mean, after the match, let's get into this. Ozzie Alonso and Bob Bradley getting into it, which is not something I had on my bingo card for this match, but evidently it happened. Just some jawing back and forth. They kind of have to be separated a little bit. And then Alonso and a couple of the LAFC players are jawing back and forth. Boxall is still jawing back and forth. So a lot of animosity in this match sort of spilling over to the end, or excuse me, to the post match. And I think a lot of this has to do with the fact that like nobody was happy about this result, right? Neither of these teams wanted a draw. Both these teams really wanted 3 points. LAFC needed 3 points, and it didn't happen for either side. So I think a lot of frustration sort of boiling over post-match for both teams. And my second observation, I said it at the beginning, I'll say it now, I'm still optimistic. This does not take the wind out of my sails in terms of how I'm feeling about this team's playoff chances and how I'm feeling about this team's chances if they stay healthy, what they can do when they get to the playoffs. Because this was a great performance from this team. But unfortunately, they did not get the goals they needed to pull ahead, right? A really, really rare mistake from Tyler Miller. And just one of those matches where nothing you put on goal seems to go in. They put 7 shots on goal, 18 total shots. Like, you expect more than one ball in the back of the net when you put together that kind of attacking effort. But it just didn't happen tonight. And that happens sometimes in soccer. And you got to move on. You got to take the positives. Adrian Heath was very, very positive after the match and talking to Cal and Kendra. Really liked the performance from his team, and it's hard to blame him when you look at the stats. 70% possession. They outcrossed him 28-6. Like, it was really dominant everywhere but the scoreboard. I said at the beginning, they were dominant in every facet of the game except where it actually matters in the scoreboard. But that means you can take a lot from this match as a positive moving forward into these last 3 matches. You didn't need the win tonight if you're Minnesota United. A win would have been damn great. It would have really helped solidify playoff position, but you didn't need it. You got the draw. You got a point. RSL lost. Let's see how results go tonight with LA Galaxy playing FC Dallas and Vancouver playing San Jose. And then we'll see how... Wednesday is still the match. Wednesday has been the one that has been circled on the calendar for the last 3 weeks. You go to Vancouver on Wednesday. 3 points tonight would have made that one a little less important, but it still would have been important regardless. So the draw tonight is really irrelevant in the grand scheme that Wednesday's the big one. Wednesday's the 6-pointer. Yes, you're going to be missing Chase Gasper, and that sucks. But you have the horses. You do. I think this team can still pull out 3 points in Vancouver with who they have. They're not missing anybody in the attack, up front, in the midfield, which is where this team's bread is buttered. That was a very, very old school phrase. I apologize, but that is the truth. If they're missing somebody up top, that's a huge, huge issue. If they're missing somebody on the back, it's not ideal, but it's not the end of the world. And I want to see this team win with some adversity. I want to see this team prove that when a piece is pulled out of the puzzle, they can still find a way to get a result they need. And they have a prime opportunity to do that on Wednesday. And without Gasper, if they can get 3 points in Vancouver, what will that do for this team's confidence moving forward into the final stretch of the season and into the playoffs? That will prove that this team can beat anybody. That's where I'm at. Wednesday is still the big one. So that's what's on tap. At Vancouver Wednesday, host SKC at noon on Halloween, and then you finish the season at LA Galaxy Sunday 11-7, which could also be a 6-pointer. 3 games left, 2 on the road, 1 at home. You still got to get results down the stretch. 3 points on Wednesday, and try to find a way to get 2 or 3 out of the last 2 matches. And I think you'll be fine if you're Minnesota United. Got a question coming in on the chat. Thank you so much to Aaron Serginian. Aaron said most of the team looked like they lost interest in playing. I disagree, Aaron. I think the goal did take a little bit of the wind out of their sails. I think that as against the run of play as it was, there may have been some confidence lost after that goal. But I also think that in the second half, they were kind of right back on the horse. They were right back on the attacking horse, putting together chances. Now, where there might have been some, I wouldn't call it disinterest, but disorganization, lack of focus in the final third, I'll give you that for sure. There was really, really something not clicking in the final third for Minnesota United tonight. I wouldn't call it a lack of interest, though. Lack of focus, maybe, but not lack of interest, I don't think. Any other questions or comments? I'll stick around here for a couple more minutes, guys. Let's go ahead and look at do a little scoreboard update here as we look at LA Galaxy and FC Dallas. And then also you have Vancouver and Sporting Kansas City. LA Galaxy down 1-0 to FC Dallas. So that is a really, really good result so far from that match. Again, it's early. FC Dallas blew a late lead to LAFC during the week. So we'll have to see how that goes. Another result that's going your way. Portland down 2-0 to Colorado. And so that keeps the 4 spot in play. If you're Minnesota United as well. That is in the 82nd minute. So hopefully for all intents and purposes, Colorado will get 3 points from Portland. And that 4 spot will still be within striking distance from Minnesota. So again, Portland down 2-0 to Colorado in the 82nd. LA Galaxy down 1-0 to Dallas early on. And then you also have Vancouver and San Jose, which are scoreless early on in that one. So a couple results that are going your way. We'll be paying close attention to that. I probably won't be staying up for the whole thing. Hopefully you don't get like a super drastic change like we did on Wednesday when I went to bed and Vancouver was down 2-0 and then they came back to beat Portland 3-2. Hopefully nothing like that happens tonight, but we'll keep you posted. All right, speaking of keeping you guys posted, Forward Madison, their season really is over. I mean, the season is not over, but their playoff hopes are done after a 2-2 draw tonight to FC Tucson. Connor Tobin gets a late goal in stoppage time to bring the Mingos level, but they needed the 3 points if they wanted to stay in the playoff hunt. And so they are officially out of it. I mean, they were basically out of it. They needed about 1 million results to go their way, even before this moving forward, if they wanted to make the playoffs, but they are mathematically now eliminated. So Rob Chappell and I will be doing a little post-mortem, I guess, on this next week's Talkin' Flock. That comes your way Tuesday morning, wherever you get your podcasts. Also, new episode of 10,000 Pitches is in the hopper as well. Really good conversation with Duluth FC's Sidney Warden. He was the 2021 NPSL Golden Boot winner, had the most goals in the country in that league this past season, and he's doing big things at Mercyhurst University out in Pennsylvania this fall. So he actually scored a goal or two tonight, actually. So really good interview. And then Dominic Jose Bazonio and I keep you caught up on everything Minnesota soccer. So that new episode is out. Just look at 10,000 Pitches wherever you get your podcast, and in that same feed, you will find every episode of Post Loons. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I appreciate the support. I appreciate the views. I appreciate the follows. I appreciate the retweets and the shares and the thumbs ups and the comments and the interactions. It's been awesome all season long. We got 3 more of these in the regular season and hopefully some playoff post loons, some postseason loons, if you will, after the fact. But I think the game Wednesday night is going to determine a lot of that. So be ready, and we will be here afterwards getting you covered on Post Loons as always. Till then, have a great rest of your weekend, guys.